Hello, YouTubers. Welcome back to part 2 of Moose Mobile Auto Repair. And today I have the part for the engine compartment main fuse that I got from the Volkswagen dealership. It's right here. It's in this plastic packaging. Here's the box. This right here. This part, it costs $250 plus tax from the dealership. So I'm going to be checking on the multimeter the same way as I did on the old one to make sure there is resistance on each of the pins for all of the fuses. Also, after I put this in, I want to make sure there's communication to the power steering module. And after that, I'm going to check the charging system for the alternator. I found a TSB, a technical service bulletin from Volkswagen, and I will put it up on the screen here for you. The TSB talks about it says here generator replacement, charging system inoperative, malfunctions, noise from engine compartment, accessory drive belt damaged or missing. And then it says technical background. One or more of the following symptoms are possible: discharged battery, no start, battery indicator illuminated in instrument cluster, low voltage DTCs in various control modules, engine noise, accessory drive belt damaged or missing. And then at the end it says product solution is not applicable. And on the next page it just talks about the warranty and stuff, warranty times and stuff like that. So I'm just assuming this this TSB was just kind of like a wake-up call for the technicians. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that the technicians were probably replacing a bunch of alternators and there was nothing wrong with it. And so the dealer wants to make sure that the technicians are doing their job properly and they're doing all of their checks to make sure they're not replacing any unnecessary parts and to reduce the warranty claims. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so we are going to check the resistance of the new fuse. So we'll check each one just like last time. Here it says 0.1. The other way around. 0.3, 0.4. Here 0.2. I believe this one was the power steering fuse. It was open last time. I think this is for the alternator. 0.1 ohms. 0.1, one on the back here. 0.1, 0, 0, 0. So this one is good. So we are going to disconnect the negative terminal on the battery again. Take this out. Looks like they have an updated part number on this in comparison to the old one. So the power steering is working now. It's nice and smooth. But instead of the red warning light, we have the amber or yellow warning light on now. I believe I might have to recalibrate the steering angle sensor later on. So I'm gonna check all of them now. So everything is is lighting up. This one here was not working, and now it's working. It's receiving power from each one. So in order to remove this belt, you'll need to find the tensioner. So usually you can push or tug on the belt, and you'll see the tensioner move. It's really hard to do it on this one. So this one is a 16 millimeter. You put it on the bolt here, and then you push towards you to relieve the tension. Very slowly, and you take the belt off, and then you slowly go back.
really tight on the back of the crankshaft here, so you need to fish the belt out. You could do this just from top, but you could also take off the passenger side wheel and do it that way if you want, if it's easier. Part number here is 6PK 1100. Continental is the OEM for this drive belt.
So now I'm going to install the new drive belt. This one is 6PK 1100 4060433 by Continental. Continental is the OEM manufacturer for these drive belts. The dealer did not have this available in stock. It's really hard to get at the crank pulley because there's a plastic piece in the way here. You're not able to see it on camera from here. You need to squeeze in to get the belt in there.
trying to slide the belt on the tensioner pulley last to make it easier, and push the tensioner down all the way. Make sure everything is lined up properly before you get it in. And it should go in. There we go. Make sure it's lined up on the pulleys before we release the tensioner. Needs to be adjusted a little bit. So right now I need to get to the wire in the back here. It's very hard to access. I'm gonna see if I can give myself some room. Get this a little bit loose to give myself some room. So now I'm going to check the main power feed to the alternator. See if it's receiving voltage. Getting 8.99 volts. Here, the circuit is working, but the alternator isn't. So it's receiving power and it's receiving a signal, but it's not charging. I hooked up to the negative terminal, and here to the main power feed to the alternator. Very hard to see down here. And earlier I checked the wiring directly to the alternator, the exciter wire, and it's receiving power and a signal, but it's just not charging. So I know that the alternator is bad. I'm going to disconnect the negative terminal of the battery. So first things first, you want to disconnect the connector from the alternator, and there's the nut here for the power feed cable. Now, if you're not able to get the connector off and the nut off, you can try removing the bolts, the mounting bolts for the alternator, and then slowly tilt it back and try to get it off then. These ones are 13 millimeter. Two on top and two at the bottom. Last bolt. Make sure you are supporting the alternator so you can take out the connector then it will be a lot easier. There you go. Push on this tab here. The outer tab here. This one. And then you have this nut here. And if you can see that on camera, this nut, the black nut here. I think that might be the protective cover. Cover here. Plastic cap. You just use this flathead screwdriver to pry it off. You see the nut here? You take off the nut now. This one also seems like it's a 13 mil. The same thing for the mounting bolts. Take the cable out. Cable looks clean. There's no corrosion. And then now I just simply take out the alternator now. You gotta be careful with the oil pressure switch. Make sure you don't damage anything as you take it out. Here's the alternator. So compare the new part, the old part with compare the old part with the new part. Make sure everything is the same. The connectors, the number of ribs for the belt. So earlier I said to double check that the alternators are the same part and the right part. So I actually had the wrong part. It would not fit on this vehicle. The old one was a single pin. It had only one pin for the connector here. And the one I got, it was a 2-pin, 140 amps. This one is 150 amps, 1 pin, so the connector would not go in. So I was going on a goose chase the entire time to get the correct alternator, because nobody makes this alternator. Everything is out of stock, and so hopefully this one fits, because I don't have that many options available on this model. And so the at the Volkswagen dealership, they wanted $1,700 for this alternator, and it would be on back order, so it would never show up. It would take months and months for it to show up. So we'll see what happens and try to put this in. So right now I'm installing the power feed cable to the alternator and tightening the nut, and I'm going to put the connector in. It's in now. The connector is in. They have an improved design. They shifted over the pins so that it will be easier to put it in. little bit of anti-seize on the bolts. gonna put the 2 bullets at the bottom on first because those ones are the hardest, and because this is an aftermarket alternator, usually or sometimes aftermarket parts are a little harder to put in than the original parts. Original parts that just go in like smooth butter. So I'm just gonna put the 2 now back in here. Because they shifted over the connector here, so I have to play around with it a little bit. So, but everything still seems to fit okay. This one I have to do by hand. almost forgot. You need to install the cover for the nut for the alternator. Just installing the two Torx, the T30 Torx screws for the brackets for the coolant hoses. Just make sure you don't over tighten them. These just need to be just arm snug. That's it. It's plastic, and you don't want to break it. I charged the battery yesterday, so I'm going to double check to make sure the battery is charged before I start the vehicle up. .23, so I need to charge the battery to 12.6. So now the battery is charged up. It's 12.66. It's fully charged now. Going to reconnect the battery. Right now it's 12.6. So when I start this vehicle up, you should see about 14.2 volts or something like that. So it's charging now, 13.7 volts.
So now I have the warning lights on. I just need to clear the codes, and the power steering light, it went from red to amber now. I think I might have to recalibrate the steering angle sensor, and we'll go from there. I didn't tell you guys about the automatic power windows. It wouldn't work when I press it down all the way. It's supposed to be auto, so I had to manually program it. So you roll the window down and you hold this down for 10 seconds, and then you roll the window all the way up and hold it up for 10 seconds. Then it should be programmed after that. I think the way to reset this is you need to turn the steering wheel lock to lock, and you hold it on one end, and I'll show you how to do it. So you turn the steering wheel all the way, hold it for 2 seconds, other way, hold it for 2 seconds, and go back to center. And now the warning lights is out. That's it. You can just do this manually. I was thinking if I needed the scan tool. Now the warning lamps are out. E-brake is on. There you go. So perfect. I just need to go for a road test and verify that everything is okay. We'll come back to the garage, and then we'll double check the charging voltage again, and possibly check the amperage and just make sure everything is all right, and then we'll go from there. So far everything is working on this car. There's no more warning lights. Steering is good. So far everything is good.